Welcome to the Lost at Home podcast. Here are your hosts, Scott Bear and Jeremiah Johnson.
Welcome to the Lost at Home podcast. My name is Scott.
And I'm Jeremiah.
Hope you didn't miss me last week when we finished off the second half of the Kyle interview.
Yeah, we got the Kyle Brock interview, and those of you who tuned in probably heard Scott storm off. Don't worry. He's back because we have a week without Kyle Brock, and you guys have been fighting a little bit on social media. I've seen you called him a filthy piece of shit cunt, and then he's told you that not to have any hard feelings, that he loves you, and then you told him to go fuck himself, and then you hope his family dies, and then you made really very specific threats against his wife and his whole family, and then he said, "Dude, you're getting a little crazy here." So it's one of those classic social media beefs.
Oh, yeah. I mean, It was all in jest. I mean, I don't want them to die.
He did send me
the photo of the graves I dug for them.
Okay, yeah.
That was more of an art piece.
So is it okay for him to open up the ticking package? He said he got a package. It's been ticking, but he's like, is it just a joke or is it really a bomb?
It's going to tick to a point. He can either open it or not. At some point,
it's going to stop ticking.
Stop ticking. And you know what? That's the surprise.
Yep. When will it stop ticking?
Yeah, but we're back for yet another week. We're edging ever so close to the magical episode number 250. God damn it, Jared. Did you realize that when we started this, we'd ever hit 250 episodes?
I thought we'd hit 500, and we've failed so far.
By not doubling the number faster.
Yeah. We could have just been doing these episodes in twos. You know that.
I mean, fuck, look at Ralph Garman with the Ralph Report. Ralph Garman from Hollywood Babylon. We interviewed him in the past. He used to be on K-Rock. Fucking funny ass dude.
Yes.
He does his show 4 times a week for over an hour per episode.
Yep.
I'm just like, you put us all to shame. Also, that's how he literally keeps his lights on. That's how he makes a living.
Here's the thing. If we really want to, I could just have the between the scenes Lost at Home feed, where I just literally just let this roll pretty much an hour a day, whether we're in front of it or not, and just post that. And that's an episode. So you don't know which day you're going to get an episode of this actually sitting in front of the mics, or just of me playing fucking PlayStation,
swearing randomly
in the background, fucking cooking stuff, whacking off, watching porn.
That would get us to 500 faster, but I don't think it would be the quality that we would like to.
Yes, that's what we care about here at the show, is quality. We've gotten to 247 episodes. Actually, that's what we're at, right? Which is 13 times 19 for my primies.
Oh my god, did I say 246?
I don't think you did. Actually, I can't remember.
I was thinking it the whole time because I wasn't on last week.
I can't remember if you said 246 or not, but I didn't hear what you said.
246 should have been my next episode, but I was out of state, so I couldn't do it.
Yep, that's right. So 247 we're at, which you may have actually said that. I wasn't trying to correct you. I just didn't know what you said.
I think I said in 4 episodes we get 250. I don't know.
Hey,
we could rewind this and listen, or we just move forward.
That could actually still technically be true because people haven't listened to this episode. This one hasn't been done yet. 247, 248, 249, 250. Boom. Mathematical loophole. My primies are loving this shit right now. Yo, let me hear you primies say what? Nothing? No. I literally have no primies.
Not even me.
No primies.
Not even your co-host.
I know you're not a primie. I believe. I can't remember what it was. There was one episode where you asked if an even number was a prime, and I can't remember. Oh, I prime shamed you. That's what I did. It's somebody coined that term. One of my primies coined that term, prime shaming.
I like that.
Yeah.
Good to have listeners.
Which, I mean, to be fair, you knew
cleverness that adversely affects me.
Yeah. Yes. I want to make sure we pit our listeners against each other. Team Scott.
Oh, my listeners versus your listeners.
Team Scott, Team Primey.
I only tune in for Jer. He makes me horny.
Yeah, that's right.
That's a reason to listen.
That's one of my primies for you.
Yeah.
That's right. How, what is a prime factorization of the size of your dick? Boom, 247.
Depends on the length of your dick, doesn't it?
It would. Yeah, it would. Yeah, exactly. I was asking that person specifically.
No 2 dicks have the same length.
They're like dick snowflakes.
Literally.
Yeah, dick flakes.
No 2 dicks have the same length on Earth.
I mean, probably if you got down to using calipers to a microscopic level, you might be able, like an actual atomic level. Yeah. I bet you're absolutely right. They're like dick flakes, which is different than the weird condition I have on my penis, which causes it to leprosy-like flakes to carve up. It's like I'll wake up and it's like somebody dumped a box of cornflakes in my bed, but mostly made out of dick skin. Ladies, anybody? Any takers? I'm single.
That's funny. I was watching something last night where someone goes, "Yeah, they kind of smell like cornflakes, but in a good way." And I was like,
Wait, what's
what?
This? And the other thing is, yeah, what? In what way do cornflakes smell bad? I mean, I understand, like, that means there's a bad way to smell cornflakes and a good way. What have you been doing with your flakes?
Now, if you're a first-time listener, the way we work this show each week is we have a little bit of a banner at the beginning of the show, and then when we jump into stories that we find on the internet that are weird and obscure and something you won't hear on any other podcast. Hopefully. Then we try to take our little improv-y skills here, and we twist them into new content, whether it be a TV show, a rap song, a movie, a book, a comic book, a stand-up routine.
It's a podcast pretzel, if you will.
Does it matter?
A pretzel cast. Not to be confused with my new podcast coming out on the Lost at Home Network called Pretzel Cast, where I talk all things bendable.
Very nice, very nice.
Anyway.
Before we get into some of that, though, this week we have a story at the top of the show that we will not be twisting into new content because it already is new content.
Or it's old content.
To us.
Yes, which is...
Because it's old content for you.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's too bad we couldn't take all of our content and twist it into old content, but we'd have to have a really... Like, this is something that people have probably seen some of it, especially by now on the Twitterverse and whatnot. And this is about...
It's making the rounds, if you will.
And for good reason, because this is like... We like to twist stuff into content that hasn't been created yet based on news stories. This is the news story a whole personality who's happened to have been twisted into new content about 50 years ago or so.
Yep.
60 years ago now.
What we have to thank is the creator of Gravity Falls, the cartoon on Cartoon Network, Alex Hirsch. He tweeted out part of an episode that went viral this past week, and Snopes even has reported in the past that it is real.
Yep.
And it is so real that you can go on YouTube and find it.
And it's also been confirmed by, like, I saw, and actually one of the links you provided was a CBS News confirmation of it, because it actually aired originally on the CBS network. So their CBS network itself was like, yes, we have this in our archives. This is a real episode. You can find it on IMDb.
And there's a reason why we're stating how many people are saying this is real, how many people have confirmed it, because it sounds like it isn't fucking real.
It definitely seems like, and I guess we're burying the lead a little bit. We should explain.
Big time.
Yeah, because ultimately what you're going to hear is something that definitely sounds like, especially in the political state that we're living right now and the way with digital technology works, people could retroactively create something that looks retro and with this kind of funny bent on it if they wanted to put a little bit of resources behind it. That's not the case in this case.
You mentioned burying the lead. Should we play the clip or explain
I would say
what's
a
happening?
little bit of the clip, because I don't know if the clip actually mentions the guy's name at all. So I would explain a little bit of the clip.
Okay.
Do a setup, Scott. Set us up.
Well, if we were going back in the way back machine to the 1950s, we would find a show called Trackdown.
Yeah. It was like a Western...
Yeah, it was a Western show.
Aired on CBS.
It was on CBS, and it was about a cowboy, a Texas Ranger, if you will, who travels the Old West tracking down assorted killers, bank robbers, horse thieves, and other evildoers.
Yes.
This first aired in May 9th of 1958.
This episode, I believe, yes, yeah.
Yep. And this episode was entitled The End of the World.
Yes. And what it essentially takes, the thing that you're going to be hearing a clip about is a con man travels to this town. Of course, it's not known that he's a con man.
I like how they refer to him in the story as a sketchy salesman.
Yes. A sketchy salesman, also known as a con man, who comes to this town and convinces the people. Of course, this is well before the internet. Not even 1950s, but this is even well before the internet in the Old West.
I believe he might also be called a flim-flam artist.
Oh, he's a flim-flam artist. Yes, of course. And what he was trying to sell...
snake oil salesman.
There we go. But he wasn't selling no snake oil this time. He was selling dreams and nightmares. And this one...
An empty pipe smoker.
Okay, we're getting a little off track. I'd like to see how many more of these we can come up with at some point.
A non-venomous snake sucker.
All right, yeah.
He'll suck the venom when there's no venom from the non-venomous snake.
Yeah.
And then charge you a fee for saving your life.
Right. A leecher.
A leecher.
Your bloodletter. So this person came to this town and said a meteor shower is coming. It's going to end the world. Of course, there's no way to corroborate this information back in the Old West times, let alone even in the 1950s.
They took everyone's word for everything.
Yep. And so this guy came and was like, and the only way to save yourselves is to build a wall, and only I can build it, which sounds very, very similar to the man Donald Trump. You'd be like, oh, big deal. But the crazy thing is the guy's name in this episode is Walter Trump, the name of the...
and they refer to him as Trump throughout the entire episode. So they will say, Trump is talking to you townsfolk about building this wall, and well, I want to tell you, Townsend, there's no reason to really build this wall, but they're scared.
Yeah.
Because of his fear-mongering.
Exactly, yeah.
And
Sounds
the
familiar.
parallels are astounding. So
Yeah.
before we go any further, Jared, do you want to roll the clip?
Yeah, let's go ahead and roll this clip, and you'll be able to hear the fear-mongering for yourself.
I can build a wall around your homes that nothing will penetrate.
What do we do? How do we save ourselves?
You ask, how do you build that wall? You ask, and I'm here to tell you.
You're a liar, Trump.
Trump?
Yes, sir. What are you going to do about him?
What do you want me to do?
Stop him
From what?
from taking a town.
Can you prove that that's what he has in mind?
Well, it's obvious.
But can you prove it? In order to arrest him, the sheriff has to have a charge. And Trump hasn't given him a thing to go on.
Well, there's got to be some way to stop him.
Well, if there is, I don't know it.
You're under arrest, Trump.
What charge?
Well, you write it any way you like. Grand theft, fraud, I think a jury will find it stealing.
And shove raw meat into a condom.
We're back.
We're back. Yeah. Sorry, we were having a side discussion while you guys were watching that clip.
And we clearly went off the rails.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: is we were pretty much gone for that clip, pretty much in real time for as long as it was probably 30 seconds. And
That was actually pretty accurate,
And
yeah.
somehow we got into smashing. Yeah. Anyway, no need to know what we were talking about there. That's out of context. We want to keep talking.
So
you got it.
Please take the time to go onto YouTube, look up this episode. You will have a fun time watching the entirety of it. It's, I believe, 30 minutes long, like old TV was.
Yeah. 22 probably without
22
commercials,
without
right?
commercials.
Although it'd be great if they had the old commercials in there, but probably not. Oh, I wish.
You know, I haven't actually watched it. I've only watched clips, but I know the whole thing exists, and you never know.
Yeah. Old
Like-
Johnny's clitoris cream. Keep your wife's hysteria at bay with Old Johnny's clitoris cream. Number up in good shape.
Yeah, it's like, it's gonna be like shoe polish ads and like, I don't know.
Perfect for putting that blackface on your face for those perfect Halloween costumes. That's right. We're in a time where blackface is still acceptable and hilarious to us whites. Now, Johnny's white cream. Put it on your face to look more white, because
say-
white is great.
You say that like an end of the 50s. Short Circuit, 1985.
Yeah.
A white dude was opposite Johnny Five and was painted brown to play a Middle Easterner.
But it was more like a tan
Or
face.
Indian.
Yeah, it was more. And he talk like this. Oh,
Yeah.
Mr. Crazy Man.
He was white.
Yes, he was a white man.
That movie is fucking
because I'm sure there
racist.
was a shortage of Indian and or even Pakistani
He said
actors.
shortage. It's Short Circuit. He said shortage.
Oh, damn it! I should have accented that. I'm sure there was a shortage.
Yeah.
There, now it sounds like I did it on
It's from the
purpose.
joke. It's from the movie.
It's the name of the movie, so the joke.
All right. Now we're gonna do a quick little thing this week.
Yeah.
Unlike other weeks, because it's 2019 and we want to harken in the
Yeah.
new year with a little knowledge for all of you. I
Yeah.
mean, the tagline of the show is "It makes you smarter."
Yes, and this
So-
could or could not. Now, these are things that you like are on the cusp of 2019, 2018, 2019 that are pretty much are already picking up steam that you might hear about in 2019. This is a look ahead at
And I would
2019
say-
to give you the knowledge necessary to navigate the 2019 wasteland.
And I would say the only thing I would say about this is normally we would twist these into new content. These stories are basically, we're going to give you the name and the reason why we came across the name. If it lends itself to it, we will, but if not, we won't. We're going to wait till we actually get deep into web droppings later in the show.
Yeah.
So without further ado, Jared, do you want to take the first one?
No.
Okay, I will take the first. I'm glad we discussed how the show's going to roll ahead of time. Like, we make little notes about who does what.
I was trying to think of the ones I'm probably more familiar with this one just because I believe I learned about it first from Dave Chappelle stand up last year. But yes, we're talking
Okay.
about dead naming.
This is a new term for 2019, dead naming.
Yes.
This is when someone is transgender and in life identifies one way or the other.
And we should know this is pop culture wise. Like people have been using this term for a bit, but it's starting to catch.
It's starting
enough
to catch
where
on
in
now.
2019 you're probably going to hear it more. So apologies if people are like, wait a minute, that's been something in my community for a long time. but-
Every term we use
Yes.
will be
It's been
terms
around,
that
yeah.
are starting to take on a new life.
Yeah, except
in
for the very
2019.
last one, where at the very last one, Scott and I are going to create a brand new term.
Okay. So dead naming essentially is when someone in the transgender community who identifies one way or the other, when dead, is declared dead as their birth gender. So you were born as a boy, you got a sex change, you're now a girl. When you're in the morgue, they're like, well, Letitia here, she's or he's he's dead. Would the parents like to identify the body? Well, that's our daughter. Well, it says clearly here on the birth or death certificate, it's a boy. Well, that's our daughter. We're progressive parents, and we recognize our daughter's dead. That is definitely our daughter. Well, until you say it's a boy, because it's a boy on the birth certificate / death certificate, we can't do this. Like, it actually becomes problematic.
Yes.
Because you need to use the right language legally to have someone declare dead.
And in this case, there are a lot of the things that ends up happening is when people will use essentially a name somebody has shed from their birth given name because of their birth identity of their sex matching their gender at their birth. Yeah,
it's a very specific case of people who were essentially born as Tom.
If this was a man named Tom and they identified Letitia and they would have to go to the morgue and say essentially, well, if they got their name legally changed, it'd be a different thing. But if you're somebody who then calls that person Tom, but they're now Letitia, that's dead naming somebody. And Chappelle had an issue. The reason he brought it, I think it was him that brought it up in his stand-up, is because he got in trouble on Twitter for dead naming. What's the his original name? Bruce Jenner, by using Bruce Jenner's name instead of...
Did Bruce Jenner die?
His no.
Well, you can't dead name someone who's alive.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, dead naming is when you're...
oh, you can?
Yeah.
Okay, I am learning something then.
Well, okay, from what I understand is they're talking specifically in this story about dead naming somebody where you are where they're talking about crime victims and referring to them by their birth name.
In the story that we have.
Yes, but whereas they were saying with Dave Chappelle is that dead naming is if you actually use somebody's original name and not their newly founded name that they feel matches their gender. So I think in this one it says if Susie's murdered, don't use Sam, quote unquote, like that, because they're talking about, I think, and that's probably how the term dead naming actually, I'm guessing.
That's interesting. So if you've moved on past the name you were given by your parents and you choose a new name and you call someone by their birth name, you're dead naming them.
Well, that's what I think in the community that, from what I've heard, is what people can refer it to. And this one is actually very specifically talking about the legal ramifications of dead naming somebody.
Can I say something that may be an unpopular opinion?
Yes.
I find it kind of sad in a weird way that you would have to rename yourself, because there's something special, I think, about the fact that your parents thought hard. Hopefully, thought hard about your name and chose a name for you.
But that's the thing too. Like, it depends on the name, but it's also one of those. If it definitely, I mean, if your name is Bruce, it's not a very effeminate name, and if you don't feel that your name matches your gender, then it's fine for you to legally name it.
Weirdly, wouldn't it almost be more progressive where someone's like I was born Bruce, I'm a boy, but I identify as a woman, and then as a woman, they're like, "What's your name?" Bruce.
Yeah, very well. Yeah.
Well, you're now a woman. Why wouldn't you pick a name like Kathy? Well, my parents named me after my great uncle who died in a war, and they loved him and wanted me to pass on the name.
And that's it would be their choice to keep their name, of course.
Yeah, like it's tricky territory.
If somebody does change their name, and again, they're talking specifically about when you start getting to legal ramifications. I'm saying that's just like, there's almost like nothing even social about it at that point. If you're just like, you have to use somebody's name legally or use somebody's gender legally, sex legally when identifying somebody, that's just a legal bunch of shit, and the person's dead, so whatever. In my opinion, if somebody's alive and they're saying, I would prefer you to use my the name that I'm giving myself now. First of all, don't jump all over somebody because they accidentally use your old name if they're used to using that. That's not them intentionally offending you. You can be like, oh, I would prefer to use this name instead. Yeah, and then follow their wishes, of course.
Yeah, I've known you for like 30 years.
Yeah.
And if tomorrow you're like, call me Jenny.
Yeah.
I would probably mess up a bunch and call you Jer.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that,
and I could correct you as you do it, but not you mean offense to me or something.
Yeah, you're a fucking asshole. Yeah, no. 30 years of Jer. Just it's gonna take a moment to break that habit.
Yeah, but this is But as far as the legality of this so I was talking. My interpretation of it was from understandings I got from last year. This is this story is specific to like criminal investigations and some of the ramifications on dead naming somebody during criminal investigations. And some of it is a matter of the fact that there are people who know the victim who might not be aware of the person's past, who might not necessarily know the person as their dead name, etc., or might only know them from one name or the other. So
yeah, I went really dark in my first observation of it. It was basically like, well, what if someone dies and they have to be identified in a corner,
which is actually what most of this article is about. Is that yes? Which I think is probably more of the larger issue at hand there, as opposed to more of the social issue, which is calling somebody by the name that they have then shed. It'd be kind of like calling people by their slave names back when they would shed their slave names, which were like their Christian names that they were given. We've all seen Roots, haven't you, Scott? You've seen Roots.
You're just trying to get me to stop doing what I'm doing.
No, it was distracting and arousing. Anyway.
Now, the next one's actually way lighter, and we're going to blow right through this one. Selfie wrist.
Oh, yeah, I forgot to open the story. But I know what
selfie wrist is literally a form of carpal tunnel syndrome.
Yeah, it's pretty much what it is.
Created by arcing your hand at a selfie angle and doing it over and over and over and over again.
And of course, a lot of people do, and people are like, wait a minute, how many selfies do people take? People take a lot of selfies. They're talking about people who do it all the time and also are probably taking 7 in a row. Because these are people that are taking selfies in the legitimate sense too a lot, where they're like just at home taking pictures of themselves on the couch, and then they go out with friends and they take the selfies, with other people.
I mean, to be fair, any photograph you take, you should take 2 to 3 photos.
Yeah.
Any. Because you never know if the first one's messed up.
Well, that's why there was like, and maybe there's an app for it by now, but there was one of the new Android functions is that like it pretty much starts taking pictures in the background as you're doing it, and then you get to review like essentially it's almost like, because they're like space is no issue on phones anymore. So as you're holding it, it'll like be taking a bunch, and that way if like somebody blinks, you can go back like one.
You can do that with Apple with a. I think when you do the photo, you just hold down the photo button, and it just keeps taking photos until you let up.
Yeah.
Which actually, for action photos, like if say like you see a bird that looks cool, I'm giving a wicked bad example, but you hold down that shutter basically, and it's like
burst mode,
it's
or
like
whatever,
burst mode. And you're just like, and then you go through, and you're like, that's the one.
Yep.
So, and then you have to delete all the others, but
Whereas like Android just does it automatically in the background.
So selfie wrist for idiots. I can't even say idiots. It's just the way the world is now.
And it's just like, just be aware of it. And honestly, I've got carpal tunnel issues and stuff from all the drawing. Let's say drawing. Yeah, let's say drawing. From all the, I can paint and everything fine, but I don't do nearly as much pen and ink as I used to, because I have to use one of those little braces like to make, which are actually miracles. It's crazy. They put like a little piece of metal in there, and then you just can't move your wrist a bunch, and you're like, oh, that's great. Yeah. But that wouldn't work for selfies, because you need to bend your, unless you have a stick with you all the way up, and then just die.
Or an Instagram boyfriend or husband.
Yeah.
I've heard about those recently. That almost made it onto the 2019
Well, those
terms.
people like who just
an Instagram partner.
In other words, those people who like just take pictures for you? Or?
Yeah, it's like you're the boyfriend of that Instagrammer, that girl who does all those hot pics, but she's never holding the phone.
Yeah.
So you're the boyfriend of that girl. So every day it's like,
and definitely
now take photos of me on the bed.
Yeah.
Now eat a waffle.
And
I'm taking a bath.
I would definitely see that as
like
a definitely more of a friend zone thing too. You know damn well a lot of those guys. I mean, a lot of those people in relationships, they probably have to suffer through doing that bullshit. Like, come on, take a picture of me doing this. Take picture. It's weird because I'm just not a picture taker. Then you hang out with somebody who's used to taking pictures, and almost every moment is interrupted.
I'll do
let's take a snap. I'm like, why? Nobody wants to see this.
I'll do an Instagram photo of food once in a while, and when I do, it's once in a while, and I often will just out loud to people around me go, this isn't how I normally live. Like, this isn't what I do.
Here's the thing: I do get every once in a while when people just need to be happy about what they're doing in their moment, especially if it's a different thing, if you're like, especially if you're visiting a different area, like I went to Louisiana getting all this food. Yeah, it's probably nothing that people from Louisiana want to see, but like I'm like, oh shit, this is amazing, a big old fucking plate of fried clams, I was crawfish.
In Maine for a week just now, and I took 3
Shout
photos
out to Maine.
that I put on Instagram. 3.
Yep.
And one was food.
It was good,
and it was just because it was a damn good meal. And it looked pretty. And I realized I have been in Maine for a week and I hadn't taken any photos and posted any. And I'm like, I'm fine with that,
Yeah.
but I feel like I just should. It's
Yeah.
weird, our society now. Like, I literally thought that. I was like,
it's weird because I don't
should
take any
just
pictures
do
like
that.
of pretty much anything, and specifically even less when I'm actually like on the road doing something, and I forget about that sometimes. And like, so I'll go to like concerts and stuff and see these great things and tell my friends about how great they were, and it's like, got any pics? I'm like, no, because I was watching the fucking
Yeah.
concert. But
Also, it's nice to have memories because, like,
Yeah.
it's nice to have your own photos.
yeah. Oh, it definitely is. Yeah, and I'm not like, I wouldn't photo shame anybody for taking photos. First of all,
I'll photo
I'm
shame
just glad-
someone if they photograph every fucking meal they eat, and
Yeah.
I've seen people do that.
Yeah, I'm like, this is a Slim Jim from fucking the
Sort of
Sunoco.
smash their phone into their
actually,
food.
Here's the thing: is now you've got me doing that. I think from now on, I'm gonna take like snap pictures of like the shittiest food. So like literally Slim Jims and fucking like
Nice.
like be like, yeah, check this bad boy out, but still put a fucking
Twinkies.
filter like on it and all that. I think that's the only way I would do it, is if it was sort of like making a statement and doing something good for the universe.
Nah,
Yeah,
I'll do vacation
As long
food
as you
once in
don't-
a great while.
As long as you don't call yourself a foodie.
In fact, I was eating a really great meal at that pig restaurant, and
Hey, that's not a nice way to talk about Paula Dean's restaurant. Oh, 2019!
And the bartender in front of me, while I was eating my delicious, beautiful meal that I didn't take a photo of, goes, it's funny, when it gets this cold, the windows in the front always steam up. And I looked over, and their pig logo thing had steam, and the colors behind it came through the steam.
Oh,
and I was
cool.
That's cool. That's a cool looking
Oh, no.
photo.
If
So I took a
if you
photo of
have
their
a good-
logo on the
If you
front.
have a good photo op, you got to take it.
Yeah, I
Like,
took a
get
photo of
that.
their front window
Yeah.
instead of my meal, because that was the better photo.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I totally like. If there's something like cool for photos, I want to see it. So, anyway, so selfie risk. Just watch yourself.
Yeah, just
Watch your selfie.
All right.
Whoa!
Next
I'm
one
on
is
fire.
actually
No,
way
I'm really on
crazier and isn't new for 2019 once again, but it's new to us, and maybe now it's new to you.
Also, you're talking about the
Asparamancer.
Yes, and she has actually started to make 2019 predictions. So this is still a looking forward segment, but it is also something that's just is worth mentioning. Yeah.
Yep. Have you ever watched a horror movie or a movie
Yes.
about, say, Louisiana, where someone's like,
Oh, the bones.
like voodoo, the
Yes.
bones. Wait, we read the bones.
Yes.
I'm doing not an accent. I'm just
I
saying it
appreciate
that,
that,
way.
because there's no way you would be able to do that accent without sounding very racist, which has never been a problem with the show
I
before.
can try.
Yeah, in other words, you will and I will fail. Anyway, so yeah, I know what you're talking about. This is exactly like throwing the bones and then reading the bones, which I always have thought about in those movies. Always seemed like bullshit. It's just it's just some withered person who just like barely rolls the bones out of their fingers. Like, I'm like, what is that gonna tell you? The universe like
What
places the
happens
bones.
when part of your pinky snaps off and adds itself to the bones? Is that cheating?
It's a new bone.
New
you
bone.
You gotta find your new ways to read it.
New bone.
New bone, 2019.
New bone. Yeah. So basically, she lays down a sheet. She grabs a bunch of asparagus, tosses in the air, lets it land, and
then
reads the
Yes.
asparagus.
And by reading it, I mean, really what's happening is I'm sure there's no like book on it, like if it lands 32 degrees and she's there with a fucking protractor measuring. First of all, this person did also I do appreciate that this woman has noted that she doesn't take herself seriously, even though the predictions she claims
always right.
She claims are 80 to 90% come true. Granted, that's probably her first of all, that's just her giving these numbers and also claiming that she made some of these. But she has actually been on talk shows and stuff where she's made some of these predictions and they've actually worked.
Yeah, she predicted
come to light.
Brexit.
Yep.
Donald Trump's presidential win.
And that's a big one. Now,
Emmanuel Macron's election victory.
Yep.
She forecasted who would leave next on Big Brother.
Yep. Yeah, that was one where she actually went on a talk show, so there's actually like proof of her doing it. But really, I think what ends up happening is
football winnings.
I'm sure she doesn't exactly know how to read it. So what you generally do in those situations is use a certain amount of like knowledge and intuition, and you consider it prediction. Now, in some of those cases, like especially Donald Trump's presidency, it seems like a harder one to have predicted because of the polls. But also, this is a woman, I believe this is from the UK. Is she from? I believe.
Yes.
And
yes.
So this is we're thinking about that from our internal society where we were paying attention to polls and stuff. A lot of people around the world were not nearly as surprised or realized they should have been surprised by Donald Trump's presidency. You're like, oh, I just thought it was 50-50. In the United States, we were like, oh my God, he was only 13% to win. But, people in the UK don't necessarily know that. So
yeah, they look at America and they're like, wow, they're mainly inbred and they seem to vote against common sense across
Yes.
the board always.
Yes. Oh, yes. By the way, what's this next thing? Brexit. Okay, good. Yes. Let's continue criticizing the United States and then do the same
The
thing.
United States is literally like the Geordie Shore of England, like all of us at
Yeah.
this point. I don't even think anyone can say they're morally superior. Trump won.
Yeah.
I hate to say it,
He's making
technically keeps winning.
He's making America great again.
Yep. Let's just hope Mueller.
Yeah.
I don't want to get political on the show because that's how you lose
we don't.
listeners.
But the Asparamancer has, made some of those predictions, and she is making some predictions for 2019 as well. What's a couple of them? I believe she said. I mean, a lot of them have to do with like UK 2019. England will have success at the 2019 World Cup. Recession will begin in the United States after the trade war with China. That's not really a big thing because almost all the economists are saying we're due for another recession. Not a big recession like 2008, but this is almost about the time where a recession is going to happen.
God, I hope not.
No, we're due. But again, we're thinking recession in terms of 2008 recession. Like that's the worst recession we've had to the point where the only thing worse than that was the depression. So even the recessions that happened in like the 80s and 90s, like they
And on
happened.
the plus
They're
side,
not great, but
you and I live in Vermont where we were virtually recession proof.
yeah, I mean
It did not hit our state.
It didn't hit it the same way. At my work, there's still plenty of businesses and stuff that are affected by it, depending on what it may. But a lot of those are because they deal with outside clients. Like my work, we froze pay raises and stuff, so we wouldn't have to lay anybody off. We did make it through without laying people off, which is good.
Made it through. I was gonna say like your outside business does make a lot of sense, but when you're a local business, we were insular. The state was completely insulated from it.
I mean, I would say that as far as like that's how we
A
perceive
lot
it.
of New England probably was outside of Massachusetts.
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of people who were still technically affected by it. So I don't want to be insensitive to those people. But yes, as far as the effect that it had on us, it took a lot longer to get to us, and by then we were at least in a state of rebuilding. But anyway, not get back away from the politics of things, actually that shouldn't even be politics. That's just economy. But
Yeah, just
economy
sense.
is politics, which is stupid.
Well, speaking of the economy and money, do you want to move on to the next social word?
Yes.
Social credit score.
Yes.
And social credit score
We've talked about this in
is
China
not
already.
new. We talked about it with China, I think, last year and the year before.
Yeah, might have a couple of years ago, because last year it really started to take hold and people actually start seeing the effects of it.
I believe this year's the year it becomes legal in China. First of all, it's either this or next year. I might be off on my facts.
Well, because they've been, the Big Brother has been collecting the data on everybody regardless.
Yeah.
It's a matter of whether or not it's okay for businesses to actually use that information, and in this case, a lot of times it's for financial reasons that people are talking about needing to use it.
Well, up until it becomes mandatory, which is either this year or next year, it was opt-in.
Yeah.
Now it's going to become totally a thing. Every citizen has to do, just like a credit score in America, except way worse.
Well, and the thing about that too is like in the story we're talking about for the UK, this company wants to do something, and it's the social credit score essentially for the sake of lending. So people, and they're actually collecting the information from Facebook and publicly available sources, whereas in China, they're just cameras everywhere, and they can see
they're
if you
also
run
doing the social score thing from Facebook.
Yeah.
And,
and they're doing that
Twitter
as well, or whatever they've got in China.
They're grabbing it from
big
everywhere
one,
they fucking can.
WhatsApp and stuff. Yeah.
The reason why this is a story that we're bringing up is that social credit scores are not new, but they're new to, say, non-China.
Here's the thing. I do terrible
not
things.
China.
Yes, exactly.
So the fact that England might be adopting this, they already got a seed money account from this crowdfunding thing, £4 million.
Yeah.
That is scary as hell because America could follow suit next. A social credit score is different from a credit score in that your social activity and your own beliefs and political alignments and everything will affect whether you get a hotel room, a plane flight.
And also, by the way, some of
being able to have a visa to leave the country, to have a passport.
And that's based on whether or not they make an accurate algorithmic reading of your social media feed. If you're using sarcasm and stuff to say, I could say, I really love what President Trump is doing sarcastically, and people who know me read that sarcastically with a tone. That's one thing. An algorithm's just going to be like, he loves Trump. All right. I'm one, I mean, granted, I know there's so many metrics that is probably going to be relatively accurate. You could probably actually paint a good picture of somebody. But the thing that's always creepy about this stuff is anytime somebody tries to, sell something as, it's just going to help, man. Because they know it sounds scary. I'm just not going to believe them. Because really, it might help at first. And really what they're saying is, lenders are sometimes afraid of lending certain people, so they essentially have to mitigate their risk by charging more fees to people who otherwise pretty much across the board. So if you're a really high risk or you have certain like social credit score issues, dings against you, this could actually mean they charge them more, and the people with a good social credit score, just like a regular credit score, don't get charged as much, things like that. And they're saying it's hard to always find that information out, and there might be people with bad credit scores that have good social credit scores, and that could actually mean just as much as far as what, especially with stuff like payday loans.
But your social score is entirely based on who's deciding what is a good social score.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you a Trump supporter?
Which is ultimately
or
company.
are you not?
Yeah.
What if it's based on sitting president?
And this is definitely going to be based on probably how the company reads it too. Because my guess is I
could be a monster or a saint,
yes.
But you don't know who's deciding it.
Yes, exactly. It's in the eye of the beholder, and this is definitely one of those things where whoever's reading it, which could be the company itself, is like, I think these are merits for what we are doing with it, or they could then another company could be like, those are actually things that we count against it. So it depends on if it's just information that then other people are utilizing. This sounds like there's one central company saying this is what's a good score, this is a bad score, that's a little scarier.
Oh, it's wicked scary. Last thing is even scarier. The Bird Box Challenge. And
yes.
Jerry, you bring this story to the table this week. I watched the Bird Box. You have not.
I have not seen the Bird Box. I'm fully aware of it.
I find it overrated, and the media attention to it,
yes.
The advertising, the berating.
And here's the thing.
I would like to tell people
yes.
not to watch the movie simply because they need to stop fucking advertising it so hard and telling us all to watch it.
And I think from what you were saying is like if you hadn't heard anything about it and hadn't been shoved down your throat, you would go to the table and go, that was a mediocre,
the more I hear about it, the more I get advertised about it, the more I don't like it.
And if it was an exceptional movie, you'd be like, oh cool, I'm glad it's getting what it needs. But when there is that threshold where it's too bad, because if it's a mediocre movie, I'm still gonna watch it at some point. I'm probably gonna wait a year till the hype dies down, but I am at least aware of one of the central things, which is the central plot point, which is there's this monster, if you will,
or monsters,
or monsters. There's essentially some kind of entity.
There's virtually no plot, so feel free to throw any words you want in there.
There isn't. Here's the thing: is I'm just going based on like a couple of summaries. So there's an entity that, when gazed upon,
or entities,
when gazed upon, will essentially drive the person to, whether it's like suffer hallucinations or what it is, but essentially drive them to commit suicide or possibly other violent acts. I don't know, but at least commit suicide. So
it's a little from column A, a little from column B with every thing you say.
It drives you crazy, but eventually to the point of killing yourself, which I think the concept is cool. The book is supposed to be good. Yeah. But I do know, just even before that, I know one of these central things is Sandra Bullock's blindfolded. So I was like, okay, there's something. There's
try to go on the internet in the next 5 minutes. Go anywhere. Do anything on the internet. Try to avoid an image of Sandra Bullock blindfolded.
Yeah.
I mean, if you that was your kink, you
are
having a fucking field day. Yeah. I lived my entire life wanting to see Sandra Bullock blindfolded.
I always had to just pause Speed 2 and put a piece of black masking tape across the screen and jerk off to that. But now I got the real deal, baby.
She was like days away from being kidnapped and like blindfolded and put in some sex dungeon. And now the guy's like, I'm all set with this. I'm so fucking sick of seeing her in that blindfold.
Yep. So guess what? I guess we can go on record here and say officially that Netflix saved Sandra Bullock's life. But the new thing popping up, there's probably 10 at least. There's at least a new challenge a month that pops up, but every once in a while, something that we've even heard of. There's probably way more than that just never make it fully viral. But there's this is one that's actually been making the rounds, and is more well known because of the stupidity involved in it, like a lot of challenges, where there are people who are doing the Bird Box Challenge where you blindfold yourself and hopefully other people you're with, family and friends and whatnot, and you try to essentially, you pretty much, as you said, you play blind. You react to the outside world just like they had to, blindfolded, and try to see how you can do. Now, there's plenty of videos of people slamming their toddlers into walls accidentally, falling over, riding a go-kart and going down the stairs accidentally and flipping and shit like that. But the most recently it's in the news because every once in a while something releases that culmination of like stupidity where then all of a sudden it kind of helps kill. Sometimes you need these martyrs.
Oh, a Darwinism like moment. Like
Yeah, and it like the challenge essentially goes away a little bit after this, after getting a little uptick in popularity. And this one happened because a 17-year-old, nobody was hurt in this one, luckily, but except for the car. But a 17-year-old and 16-year-old were in a car. The 17-year-old was driving, decided to do the Bird Box challenge while driving. Guess what? It's as stupid as it sounds, and the results are very obvious. Don't even have to tell you that him getting T-boned and. By
they all lived, luckily.
Yeah. So
but at the same time, if I were those kids' parents, I would go like 1950s on them. I would actually hit them. I would be like,
you should have been hurt in that fucking
idiot.
thing.
Like,
let me do what the car should have done to you. Beat the shit out of them.
Oh, not a scratch on you? Give me 3 minutes.
I'm blaming this one on that fucking... I hope that I'm the first responder to that accident so I can put some scars on you, you fucking asshole. Because
at that point, you need to be...
This is saving your life. If you didn't get hurt in this, you probably think you're fucking immortal now, and you're going to keep doing these stupid challenges till one kills you, and I don't want to lose my kid that way. So...
No, you need to be like the most disappointed human on earth at that point when you realize you created offspring that dumb. And number 2, the best punishment would be bringing them home, doing a Clockwork Orange eye open thing, and make them watch TED Talks with millionaire 14-year-olds who invented items and went to college early, and show them kids that didn't watch a fucking shitty Netflix movie and do the same thing in a car.
Yeah, or like the I Am Malala, like fucking 16-year-old who's been through all these hardships and now is like fucking a Nobel Prize.
Show them kids the same age or younger who are way smarter, more mature, and who have maybe changed the world.
And you're like, oh, and what did you do? Your 15 minutes of fame was squandered on putting a blindfold on and driving, which, as you pointed out, they wouldn't do even in that movie.
They did not do that in that movie once.
I was like, I'd love to drive a car right now, but you know what you can't do with a blindfold? Drive. So we're next to gotta not do that.
Actually, you know, I think they might have done that in the movie once. But there was a reason. Like, someone was, like, peeking through their blindfold or something. There was a reason.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Or they knew it was, like, a straight line to, like, point A to point B.
Well, the other thing, too, is if you do, and you know there aren't a bunch of other, like, cars on the road and shit, and you can, like, go slow enough, you can even die.
Everyone on Earth is dead.
Here's
so,
the thing,
like, there's, like, a street, I think at one point in the movie, where they're like, we know it's a street, we know it's 100 feet long, you need to get 100 feet.
Yeah.
And they just gotta
And you could do that, honestly, on the interstate a little bit, too, because you could, like, slowly just stay on the right-hand side and
but
just
this is when
intentionally,
everyone on Earth is dead, and there's no other cars that will hit you.
Safer that way. Yeah. Safer that way, for sure. So anyway, predictable results on this one. So keep an eye out for the Bird Box Challenge. Hopefully 2019 has already killed it because it's already gotten so stupid.
We'll report next week on all the deaths. We'll name them. We will name you and shame you.
We will shame you. We will dead name you. So yeah, so that's the Bird Box Challenge. It's gonna be one of those things that maybe we'll come back to you and we'll challenge shame some people or something like that. And
definitely,
I guess challenge shame could be something that doesn't exist yet that we could create in 2019. But we were thinking of creating some other term that doesn't exist yet, or maybe our own challenge that doesn't exist yet in 2019. See if we can get something really off the jumping off point.
How about the turtle challenge?
Okay.
Anyone who sees Mitch McConnell in public, you throw a turtle at him.
I like that. I thought you were gonna talk about
it's Mario Kart style. Like you're trying you're trying to get him off the track so you can get ahead of him.
Okay. And my take on that would be probably. I wish that one would catch on because I would just love to see Mick McConnell.
Oh, then there'd be an epidemic of like dead turtles in people's pockets.
Yeah, just getting like pelted with turtles would be hilarious. Especially Ernest Goes to Camp style, where one like snaps onto his nose.
Yeah,
like, my nose. Jim Varney, rest in peace. That's an oldie but a goodie. Old Jim Varney. But my thought would be turtle challenge because this one could definitely. Turn into something viral and stupid where people, whether in whatever kind of enclosure they can find, they try to tuck their head, back into something. A lot of times it could just be your shirt, but it would be while driving or something like that would be the thing that kind of like throws it off the rails because essentially it'd be the same thing as the Bird Box Challenge, or somebody would do that in some like enclosure where they can't get air and they would suffocate. Record number of suffocations and car crashes due to the Turtle Challenge and Mitch McConnell getting assaulted in the Turtle Challenge in 2019.
If we're going to take a horror movie and they do something weird and unique in it, how about the Quiet Place Challenge? You just shut the fuck up.
Oh my god, I wish.
Just shut the fuck up. The Quiet Place Challenge. You just say that to you, like someone in your office is like, did you see Ellen yesterday morning?
Quiet Place Challenge.
Hey, Quiet Place Challenge.
okay. Yeah. And then if they say anything, you fucking kill them. All right, we got a couple of challenges going fresh into 2019. I hope that second one really takes off.
Yeah.
But now we're ready. We're getting close to the end of the show already, but we're actually ready to get a couple of web droppings out of the way, I would say. Let's go. Let's do web droppings.
Let's definitely do the first one. We might have to pick and choose here.
Okay.
We have a flat Earth cruise. Well, it sounds like what it is.
Yes.
It is literally a cruise that you can take around the ocean.
Oh, no,
with
around. Across the ocean.
Across the ocean with other flat earthers.
And the thing that's look, this is supposed to happen in 2020 sometime.
No, you're whatever you're about to say next. If it isn't that rapper B.O.B. and Tila Tequila are on board for this cruise, you are cutting past the most important part of this cruise.
That is definitely going to be an important part. Is hopefully because who when a movement has such scientific minds as Tila Tequila and rapper B.O.B., it's got to be true, right?
Rapper Bob.
Rapper Bob.
That's how we've always referred to him on the show since he first came out about flat Earth.
It's just like the most middle class white guy fucking rapper name, like Rapper Dad or something like that. I'm Rapper Dad, and
Rapper
I'm here
Bob.
to say, here's my friend Rapper Bob today. Yeah, going to go across the ocean. No round here, cause that's no notion. Yeah.
No, all of his raps are dad jokes.
Yeah. Oh my God,
that would actually be harder to write.
I'm definitely putting Rapper Dad in the notes as an empty promise 2019. First empty promise of 2019.
Dad jokes are mainly puns, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Mainly.
Oh yeah, so you just write a rap song with puns, but in that very like middle class, fancy white dude, kind of. Wow, that's what, and with little to no rhythm, which is great. It makes it even actually sometimes harder, but almost easier to write because then it can just be bad. I think it would be great if it was also a flat, or maybe it's a Rapper Dad versus Rapper Bob. What's the word I'm thinking? Hip hop fight. What do they call those word fights? I
know the answer. I want you to keep going.
Hey,
just a rap battle?
A rap battle.
Just
not hip hop fight, not word fight. Rap battle.
It's a word scramble.
No.
When two black youths get together in an alley and have a word scramble.
Oh yeah. Roll them bones, baby. So this is okay. So those are very important aspects of this. But one of the Rapper Bob and Tila Tequila. But one of the things that they're pointing out is it might be hard to actually staff one of these because the navigation systems in all cruise ships, all ocean-bound vessels, use GPS and very specific navigation equipment that, guess what?
What's the first letter of GPS? What's that stand for?
Global.
Oh.
Yes.
Yes, it uses 24 satellites running around the Earth in a very set pattern that allows for global positioning.
Time and time again that you know where you are based on this, and that's the way all these ships are built to and the people. There's somebody who was interviewed in this article that was like, yeah, I don't know how they're going to find a captain. They're probably just going to have to suck it up and get a real captain that actually knows how to navigate. He's like. The guy's talking about
there's no flat Earth captain.
Yeah, he's I've navigated the oceans 24 million miles or whatever this captain said, and he's like, I've never met a captain that's a flat earther because it just
and no pilots either. So
it would go against their beliefs because they wouldn't be able to navigate.
No astronauts.
They would just end up in the middle of the fucking ocean nowhere where they thought they were supposed to be in New York City.
Yeah, the people with the thousands and thousands of hours of training and job experience know exactly what's going on. But if you ask a flat earther, they're all lying.
Yep.
All of them.
Which is funny because there was some of the other conspiracies people talk about, and which it's not even a conspiracy to make sense. We've talked about flat Earth a lot. We're kind of obsessed with it, and honestly, I think it's okay to be obsessed. with it. It's hilarious.
Yeah, we're obsessed with the people who think it's real.
Yes. Because it's stupid enough to just flat out call them stupid. I can at least get.
They're big dum-dums.
And I'll call even anti-vaxxers and stuff stupid. But I at least understand there's a little bit of threat of justifiability there because people are afraid for their children's health and they don't trust the pharmaceutical or medical industries. Those are both valid concerns. Still not enough to maybe completely not vaccinate your child. But at least I'm okay, there's a threat of actual parental concern there. These are people who have created way more challenges for themselves to explain that the world is flat for no reason. And really the conspiracies around are just we were, in the Cold War. I'm we had the world is round thing way before the Cold War. How did it just become a conspiracy around that? Anyway, the flat earthers, hilarious. So I actually do kind of hope they find a flat earth because this is going to be a bunch of people. A lot of people fit on cruises. 10,000 people plus, probably.
If they want to have the ultimate flat Earth cruise, cruise to the edge. Cruise to the ice wall.
It would be great. And I actually don't even want them to try that. I want them to find a real flat Earth navigator, get lost in the middle of the ocean, and die. All right, I want this to be Carnival Cruise when everybody was up to their necks in shit times 1,000. Because here's the thing. Just leave. You can fit enough people on these cruise ships to just let fucking 10 of them be like, free! I will start a fucking GoFundMe today to get every flat earther's room and board on one of these cruise ships paid for, and I will make sure it happens. If you promise to get me a flat Earth navigator who will pay no attention to the global positioning system and leave you all to rot in the middle of the fucking Atlantic.
Can't we take one
or Pacific
person who's a flat earther,
and kill them,
put them on the equator on a boat from shore on the, say, west coast of U.S., Mexico, have them sail out, stay on the equator, hit Asia, get on land, walk whatever distance it needs to get to water again, get on a boat, staying always on the equator, and then finally end up exactly where they started. And thus show it's a fucking circle.
The thing. You would do that, and then they would come back and they would reverse engineer everything they know to make that make sense into their worldview. That's how these people clearly. All of the evidence already out there, even the stuff people can see and feel for themselves, they just reverse engineer it. That's how conspiracy theorists work. They find something they truly believe in, and they're just like, I don't care what the worldview is. I can find ways to explain this any way I want. As opposed to the way real science works is you're like, I have a problem. I need to do a bunch of stuff to figure out what's causing this problem and figure out how to solve it. Instead, it's like, no, I have this solution that I want to get to. How do I divert all of the world around me to tunnel into this and ignore everything outside of it?
So easily done here. We make a reality TV show called Proving the World's Flat. We'll even give them the benefit of the doubt. Let them own the show, you know what I mean? So they take a cruise. First one. We have them go as far as they can around the world in a boat, showing that there's no edges. Second season, I'm guessing airplane? Mm-hmm. We have one of those party planes. It's like a party bus, like the 2 double-decker ones with the spiral staircase inside.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like a party plane. You take out a couple rows of seats and you set up B.O.B., Rapper Bob and his band.
Rapper Bob and his band.
And you do some stuff.
Rapper Dad opens.
You fly from
they put their beef behind them.
You make it an intercontinental plane. You fly from California to fucking Atlanta.
Yep.
So you go around the world.
Yeah, around that way.
But not the entire world. You skip the middle of America because are they really going to say the middle of America doesn't exist? We'll at least go coast to coast.
Yes, yeah.
Make it easy. Next, we do space. We do a Virgin Galactic suborbital flight.
Well, especially those would be easy because if you just go straight up and can prove you're going straight up and then straight down, you'll land 24,000 miles away from when you started.
Yep. And you also...
Which is crazy because that's also definitely more than the...
and they always say that the windows on those planes are warped. They're concave.
Yeah.
Thus creating a curvature through the illusion of bent glass.
Because that's easier than just admitting that the Earth is...
that's every picture taken from the International Space Station.
And globe like everything else that we can see, like the moon.
Nope, they say every photo taken from space was taken from a curved piece of glass, thus making the Earth look curved. The spaceship is actually seeing a flat Earth, but the window makes it round out.
And that way you're even tricking the astronauts, so it's only a few people that really know about it. The thousands of engineers it took to create it, and never came forward saying...
Well, you show them the glass isn't curved. You show them a piece of the literal window.
That means you work for them, and you're showing them something that wasn't actually on that, though.
They're build the spacecraft in front of this group of flat Earth teenage YouTubers.
You swapped it in the stratosphere. It gets up to... I'm telling you, this is how it will work.
That's the cutaways. On The Bachelor and shit, where they cut away.
No, they swapped it in
I didn't really like how Jen last night came on to me, and, it made me uncomfortable in the hot tub, but, maybe I will give her a rose. This is the same cutaway where it's they did show us how they made the entire space shuttle through 3 years of building it in front of us, but they definitely swapped out the windows last second.
Yeah, I would say they probably have a special station in the stratosphere. Where there's a special dock where they land that one and put the real one in space.
The person's literally floating in the shot, I don't think I'm in space. This is definitely a soundstage environment.
Oh yes, I believe I saw Stanley Kubrick's Ghost actually directing it.
Yeah. No, there would always be a thing. And like 4th season, it would be like, we're going to have you live on the first moon colony, where you can see a very small round moon come at you in space.
The moon glass is curved.
Yeah.
There's a dome around the moon, and it's curved.
I was going to say, you could have them in spacesuits, standing on the moon, looking at the Earth. Oh, that was a great... I know a flat earther. I know one.
Which is ridiculous, but also based on the statistics, that's about right.
He's a friend, and I have debates with him all the time. I mentioned...
Oh, no. You say something that's right, and then he says stupid things
Want to hear the newest one?
Yes.
It's always fascinating. Ready?
Yes. I want to know where these
This was his.
Because he's also
this
was all
his
around
at
conspiracy theorist anyway.
This was his at me. How come every photo taken from the moon of the Earth has the Earth look like the size of the moon from the Earth?
So he was saying...
So like...
in other words, if I'm standing on the Earth, the
moon is small.
Right.
The Earth is big.
Yeah.
When
so
you're on the Earth,
when you're on the moon, you're as far away from the Earth as the Earth is from the moon. So why
would there be a reversal in size?
Wouldn't the Earth be much larger in that? First of all, I don't necessarily agree that is the case, because when you actually see the pictures of when they're on the moon, that's not the case.
Actually, it kind of is, unless they're being doctored. I did a bunch of Googling of photos of the Earth from the moon, and the Earth is kind of small from the moon.
Of course, it's still gonna be relatively small, but it's a matter of like what you perceive as. So first of all, when the moon is just a little bit closer to the Earth, it actually looks like considerably larger. Like you can actually tell.
Oh yeah, because the Earth and the moon travels in a elliptical arc.
So it's going to be different sizes anyways. The other thing about how much larger it really should be also is the thing. Like it might not be proportionally as large when people talk about the volume and the mass of the moon versus the Earth. Like if the Earth is twice as large, it might necessarily look like fucking 8 inches big in the sky.
I think the idea is that like the moon from the Earth looks like a little dime in the sky.
Okay. Yeah.
So you're thinking if you're standing on that dime and you look back at the Earth should look like a giant saucer.
So this is a new conspiracy. This has nothing to do with flat Earth, because also he's actually saying you can see this round thing from the moon.
But you're
if he's talking about, or is he talking about the fact that people doctored the image?
I caught that too. I'm like, so you're seeing this flat thing from the moon, and if it's flat, why are you only seeing one continent?
Yeah, and why? And also, like,
wouldn't you see all the continents at once?
It would also mean that the moon would have to be like this, and the Earth would have to be like this, looking out at the moon. Like, or relative to it. In other words, the moon has to be straight overhead, which also,
If I were to use that logic, he would probably just say, well, the photos are fake to begin with because the size is off, so obviously you're not seeing the entire Earth from the moon.
Yeah, it also means that, what they also
we
pointed
could
out...
conspiracy theory just like they do for days, because it's all logic, it's all bending logic.
Yeah, because it's hard to, like, explain facts and logic to people who are willing to throw out any fact by just saying, well, that's just because it's part of the conspiracy. In other words, you don't need facts to back up anything, and all you do is actually also use the lack of evidence as evidence for something, which is just one of the immediate fallacies for, like, scientific reasoning. But I wouldn't expect scientific reasoning to be used in something unless it's the 1600s, literally.
I also told that
flat Earth.
That back in the first moon landing, they put those reflectors on the moon that allow us to prove that we landed on the moon by shining lasers at the reflectors, thus reflecting light back, showing that the reflectors are there. It's just like a bike reflector, like little square ones. And he said, but there's only like 3 or 4 people who have those lasers, and they're all in cahoots.
Yeah.
So of course they'll shine one up and be like, it reflected back, because it's easy. It's easy to pay off 4 people to lie.
Well, 4 people at a time. By the time, if they've been there long enough, then at some point you're gonna have to hire their replacement, the laser pointer guy, or when he's on vacation, there's got to be some backup.
We need to do a full flat Earth episode, and I mean with almost no research at this point. We should just you and I pick roles. I'll be a flat earther, or you will. Or vice versa, or we swap back and forth.
Say like half the show one way and half the show the other.
Yeah, and we just we basically come up with every point you could come up with, and then the other person tries as hard as they can, and I mean with no research, debunk using just our own logic, our own smarts, just flip points on people, because that's all it is flipping points.
Well, the other thing too is it doesn't matter how much research you have, because all the research and you have astrophysicists telling people scientifically why shit doesn't make sense, and then the people like your friend who are going to be like, no, they're in cahoots. Like, it's so easy to be a conspiracy theorist, because you can just live whatever little fucking weird reality you want to. And it's not to say that some conspiracy theories don't have some merit, and some, I guarantee you, probably one of these conspiracy theories that we consider ridiculous probably will be proven to be true. One of the things that we think it could be that Kennedy was assassinated by the CIA or something like that. One of the ridiculous ones.
No, his head just did that.
Yeah. That's a good spot to end on. It might just be the name of the show. Is His Head Just Did That. Oh, Kennedy? No, his head just did that. He was prone to bouts of explosion in his.
Use that anytime someone talks about JFK's assassination.
Yeah, because there's always going to be the two camps. There's going to be like the lone gunman, style. Then there's going to be like the conspiracy government cover-up kind of guy. Sometimes the mob.
The third one
and the
into
third
the
one would
ring.
be like, no, his head just did that. It's like no, the bullet was already there. He was born with a bullet.
He just popped that day. It was hot. It was hot out.
Yeah, again, if they had the convertible and some AC on, we'd still have a Kennedy. Anyway, so that's the end of that. I think I'm going to try to find some song about Flat Earth to go out on. I don't know what it is yet. Could be one that I make. Could be one that I found. I found a few on YouTube. I just don't know how good they sound. So you're going to hear something about Flat Earth. And in the meantime, check us out on, we got patreon.com/lostathome to check out some extra content we've got posted up here and there. You can find us on Twitter at Lost at Home Podcast.
The Lost at Home.
The Lost at Home on Twitter. I get them mixed up because we had to choose The Lost at Home on that.
Yeah,
LostAtHomePodcast.com is our website.
Instagram as well, Lost at Home Podcast.
Yep. And I'm Sonic Jalopy on Instagram. You can see my paintings and ramblings on
I'm
there.
Legend Tripper with an underscore in the middle, but you really shouldn't go there.
a lot of feces pics.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, until next time when we talk a little more about what's happened in 2019, I say get lost.
Get lost.
Met a man the other day who thought the earth was flat. I said, man, you must be crazy. Where the hell is your tinfoil hat? But he spoke with such conviction, and he believed the words he spoke. And something deep inside me knew this couldn't be a joke. But why would he believe this? And why believe such things? 'Cause everybody knows the earth's a ball and that it spins. Well, you must be pretty crazy if you think the earth is flat. 'Cause we all know that it's a globe, and that's a simple fact. So I said, what about the photographs that NASA takes from space? He gave a knowing smile and told me, man, those things are fake. But what about the videos that I've seen with my two eyes? What about them? He replied, have you heard of CGI? Oh, NASA's faking everything that you have ever seen. And as for flying to the moon, well, they ain't never been. Indeed, my friend, their line scum is there for you to see. Just take some time, look into it, and the truth will set you free. Well, I was kind of skeptical, but I have an open mind. And what he said was interesting, and I've got a little time. So I grabbed myself a doobie, and I started watching vids. 'Cause if NASA's really lying, then they're lying to my kids. And as I watched, I got angry as I learned of the deceit. The global earth deception was right there at my feet. Well, holy shit, this could be true. What if we're not on a globe? The more I learned, the more I yearned, the more I started to probe. I upturned every rock of information I could find. I started to unlock the truth, the war upon my mind. I had 1,000 questions I just couldn't understand. I had to meet that man again, that flat earth man. Oh, NASA's faking everything that you have ever seen. And as for flying to the moon, well, they ain't never been. Indeed, my friend, their line scum is there for you to see. Just take some time, look into it, and the truth will set you free. Well, I called him up that evening, and he agreed to meet. He was very welcoming, and he showed me to my seat. He said, I see you've done some research, my open-minded friend. I know you'll have some questions, which we'll get to in the end. First, take a look at what's on these walls, paintings of a globe. I painted every single one of these, don't you know? You see, back in the day before computers, I was in demand. An artist painting everything I saw upon the land. Landscapes were my favorite, I was awfully good at those. Many people told me that they looked just like photos. And then one day I got a call from a real important dude. He asked me if I'd like a job and said the money's good. Well, what's the job, I asked him, then I'll wait for his reply. You'll be painting globes for NASA, then he promptly said goodbye. Well, I was sworn to secrecy, I could not tell a soul that I just got myself a job with NASA painting globes. My work was published globally in every magazine to fool the people of where we live, a truly evil scheme. See, we don't live on a globe, he said, the earth is truly flat. I've been on the inside and I know that that's a fact. Oh, NASA's faking everything that you have ever seen. And as for flying to the moon, well, they ain't never been. Indeed, my friend, their line scum is there for you to see. Just take some time, look into it, and the truth will set you free. Well, we talked until the sun came up, and my mind was truly blown. This man had challenged everything that I thought I'd known. And finally, it was clear to me to why these bastards lie. And finally, it was clear to me about the reasons why. It's all about control, you know, to get inside your head. It's all about the money, too. They got an awful lot of bread. $50 million, man, what could you do with that? That's what NASA gets a day, to hide the earth is flat. You see, if they can get you to believe that you're on a spinning ball, well, things like God and creation just make no sense at all. It all exploded from nothing, right, with their theory of Big Bang. It's true satanic mind control from the Freemasonic gang. You see, it's only Freemasons that get to go to space. They're the evil bastards who are lying to your face. Yeah, NASA's pretty evil, man, the whole thing is such a fraud. The only reason they exist is to hide a loving God. Oh, NASA's faking everything that you have ever seen. And NASA's flying to the moon, well, they ain't never been. Indeed, my friend, their lying scum is there for you to see. Just take some time, look into it, and the truth will set you free. Yeah, NASA's pretty evil, man. They're lying scumbags. Take some time, man. Look into it. I did. Now my mind is truly blown. The truth will set you free.